everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Uncorked Live. It's the new year. You're thinking about it.
And we're talking about it, so stay tuned.
Uncorked Live with Caren and Mel Greenberg, making the most of life's peak stage and sharing it all with you.
What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking Vouv. I finally feel prepared to celebrate with like we drink every show, but this one it's New Year, so we're
It is
really
a new year. I'm doing gin and tonic. I'm doing a gin and tonic. So yeah, it's delicious. It's my drink of choice when I'm not drinking wine.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't like gin.
Let's give it a cheers.
Cheers.
So today we're asking the question, where do you want to be next year?
And in fact, we asked all of you and we got some amazing answers. First of all, thank you, because we love when you're part of this and you make it special. And we're going to talk about some of them. And one question we got was, how can I get past making resolutions because they never stick? They don't work. And we talked about that even last year.
Yeah, we
and
did.
I believe it firmly. Caren, do you believe in resolutions?
I don't even call them resolutions.
They don't work. You set yourself up to fail. And there's actually reasons. There are studies done about why that is, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Right. But we want to talk about that. When I thought about where I want to be next year, it was pretty clear for me. I had 3 things. And I was able to ask the questions, why now, and what am I going to do? And that's the biggest thing. How about you?
Oh, well, I'm constantly in this health thing right now. So I want to be next year not talking about health, to be honest. I know it sounds weird, but I've got lofty goals and lofty intentions, but a year from now, I truly do not want to be sitting here saying, I'm hoping that we have health again. And it's kind of a sad thing to say, because that's all I've been talking about all year long. So my intention next year, or this year rather, is not to be talking about health.
But honestly, even without catastrophic situations such as yours, as we age, our health becomes a bigger part of the conversation. And I can remember this, being in my 30s and 40s, listening to my in-laws, let's go to this doctor appointment. Everything was health related, and they were in their 60s.
Right.
And now here I am in my 60s, and it's like, oh, I've got this appointment. Now I'm doing this, I'm taking care of this. And I feel like it's on rewind. And I just think it's part of taking care of ourselves. So wanting to maintain and keep good health is
right.
a bigger part of the conversation now.
It is, but I don't want it to be the only part of my conversation. I sometimes, as you know, I don't go out that much, but on the few occasions that I have been out and we sit around the table and we're talking, for whatever reason, because we're all kind of the same age, it goes to health. It goes to, what medication are you using?
Right.
Or what happened about, and you're right. It happens at this stage of life.
I mean, it's like when you're a new parent and you're surrounded with other new parents, that's the central focus of your conversation, child rearing, your books, your interests, all those things. The central part of our focus is staying alive.
Staying alive. I mean, it sounds silly, right?
I know. And well and healthy and
well and healthy. And well and healthy. I saw that one of the other questions was that I want to be self-employed. Sorry.
Do you really? No, it's a great thing.
It's a great, and it's a big change, right? And it's hard to do. It is, but everything that's worthwhile is hard to do, and it can be kind of scary. You're an entrepreneur, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm self-employed. You're self-employed, and are you self-employed? You're self-employed.
My husband might beg to differ, but.
But I'm self-employed, which means what it doesn't mean is that I don't rely on our household income in addition to my self-employment income, right? And I'm fortunate that way.
And you don't go somewhere, you don't punch a clock, you're not committed. Right. You are exploring and pursuing things for yourself.
Right. I'd rather work really, really hard for myself.
My youngest son and I were just talking about that, because even back when there was an opportunity, when I was working before I had stopped working and had children, and I had an opportunity to be on salary or commissioned, I always chose commission, because I knew then that the ceiling was up to me. and I
Right.
knew my work ethic that I would work harder and I would make more than I ever possibly could
Right.
on
Right.
salary.
Right.
But, I mean, but you know what? Then that's honoring who you are too, and
Yes.
there are worker bees and there are owner bees, and they're all good, they're all necessary. But do you
Absolutely.
think so let me ask you this, because this is great, and the question was, it's scary stuff, and making that kind of magnanimous change in your life at any age is scary,
Right.
but as you get
Right.
older, even
Right.
scarier.
Right.
Do you think so I just turned 63, January, celebrating big month. You just turned 66. Does that impact the risks we're willing to take? Because
Right.
we don't have the window, that little window's closing whether we healthy or not, there is the light's dimming.
Such an
So
interesting question, Mel. It is such an interesting question because I find myself quite often these days as I embark on new projects and
mhm,
new ideas. I'm always, I always say I'm thinking, and that's dangerous. I always in the back of my mind is I'm 66. Should I be
wow.
starting something like this right now? I don't really consider myself old. I really don't. But I'm closer to the end than I am to the beginning,
Right. There's more in the
right?
rearview mirror.
And
Yes.
so I find myself, and then I kick myself because it's not healthy to say somehow I can't do something because I'm 66 years old.
Mhm.
I can do something, but I would be lying if I said it doesn't sometimes cross my mind. How about you?
I I'm echoing everything you're saying, and it's this really, like, frenetic dance I do in my head as if
Mhm.
there's not enough going on in there anyway, of,
Right.
"You're only 63, what the hell's the matter with you?
Right.
You can do this, and this." But then the other side of it is like, "You're 63. I wanna sit home and relax and write my little romance books and enjoy my granddaughter. I don't need to save the world right now." That's the an a
Right.
different I mean, my wants are different, and it's not
Different
that those things
generations.
aren't
It's,
important to me.
yeah.
Other things are more important to me
Right.
given that closing window.
And
So
I think you said it. It's a different generation. Our parents' generation at 63 was maybe not starting all these new projects and was maybe not doing the stuff that we are doing at this age because times have changed. Have you ever looked at pictures of people in their 60s from the past?
I know the best was so remember when J Lo performed at the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
and there was "This is 50," and then the Golden Girls, "This is
Right,
50."
right.
That glaring right at you, there it is.
Glaring, glaring. When I went on Below Deck Mediterranean, we were called the Golden Girls. There were six of us, and there's a picture that's hysterical. I probably should, make a
You
LinkedIn so
should
you
get
can
it
see
out,
it.
I wanna
We're
see.
sitting on a couch
You
on
all
the
wanna
ship,
see, right? We wanna
right?
see this
We're all
next one.
sitting there, and we're on a couch, and we're all smiling. And they called us the Golden Girls. And some of the girls, some of the women on the trip said, "I am not a Golden Girl." They took
Yeah.
offense at it because if you go look at pictures of the
Right.
Golden Girls,
Not me.
of our age,
Yeah.
they look like our grandmothers or our great grandmothers. And so I, of course, like to jump into that and say, yeah, we are Golden Girls. So I put a social media post out that
I
literally
love
had
it.
Golden Girls of the 70s or whatever
Mhm.
year it was, and Golden Girls of the 2000s. And here we are. And it was hysterical. And I have to tell you, that went viral.
I believe it, and you know what? You just hit something, and I think that it's both. I think that we are a different generation. We are still very vibrant and view the aging process quite differently
Mhm.
than our parents did and our grandparents.
Right.
But it's also acknowledging the fact that, like I said, there is more in the rearview mirror. The window is closing. No matter
Right.
you can fight it all you want. You can say
Right.
whatever you
Right.
want, but
Right.
you have a limited you're in the 4th quarter, as my
Right.
husband likes to use that
We
analogy
are.
because we're a
We are.
football family,
Yeah.
and it's a really valid one, and at the end of the day, how do you wanna spend that time? And it doesn't mean that you don't want to take challenges or you don't,
Right.
but you don't have you're not you're not afforded the ability to ride certain things out because
Right.
time is limited. So
Right.
how do you want to do that? How do you wanna go through that? And for me, it truly is clearing my plate and only doing things and making time for
They bring
things that
joy.
really matter and fulfill me.
Right.
And it might be maybe this year, maybe 2023, I've been really big into this whole manifesting thing. I mean, I've
Right.
always been there, but
Right.
I found some clarity with it, and you actually turned me on to Mel Robbins, so thank you
I
because now
love
I'm like,
Mel.
docu obsessed fan. I love her. And one of her shows was about manifesting, and I always used to meet friends January, and we would cut out pictures and make these lovely vision boards. She took it to a whole other level, and it resonated so deeply with me about what it means to manifest. And, it's not just looking at the picture, it's, are
Right.
you willing to do the work? What do you want? So that kind of goes to this at 63. Yes, this is what I would like. Am I willing to do the work to
Such
get
a good
there?
question. Such a good question. I think it's a good question for everything. Am I
Yeah,
willing to do what it takes to get to the next place, or
whatever
to,
it
or
is.
to be successful in the job,
Yeah,
or to whatever,
yeah.
hobby? Am
So
I willing to do the work?
to that person out there that sent in that awesome question about becoming self-employed, go for it if you're willing to do the work,
Right.
and keep us posted.
And there's so many great rewards. Yeah, keep us
Yeah,
posted. We
yeah,
want to know. We want to know what's going on. So
yeah.
you mentioned the manifestations that
Mhm.
the Mel Robinson, she had it was a great podcast about 4 manifestations. So what does manifesting actually mean?
So it really is intentionally. I'm gonna read this because she does so much work before she says
She
anything.
does. Yeah.
So I feel really good about sharing this with you. It's intentionally training your brain and your nervous system to believe in something that hasn't happened yet. So when you make those vision boards, which I've done, and I love some of mine, I look at them like, "Oh my god, I did that year." So I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg.
Right.
But you picture something, you imagine something that you want, and you tell it. But you can't just say, "Oh, I want that, plane. I want
No.
my own plane," and then sit there and wait for it to happen.
Right. That doesn't work. It
No.
doesn't work.
So, again, are you
Right.
willing to do the work? And
Right.
it doesn't happen overnight. And only you have to be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody else, but manifesting doesn't just mean picturing it, it's gonna happen. You've got to be
No.
willing to do all the work.
Right. And I
I do
actually
think you
have.
put it out there.
Yeah, you have to put it out there. If you don't put it
Mhm.
out there, what you put out does come back. You put out negative energy. I am convinced the negative energy comes
Yes.
back. You put positive. I actually have my vision board as a screensaver on my desktop. So when I sit here
I
at my
love
desk
that.
every single day, and it's not like my goals. It's the things that I'm actually doing every day. It's a reminder. It's meditate. It says there's a picture of me meditating there, and there's a picture of walking, and there's a picture drinking water. There's things the habits that I sometimes have the need to be reminded because I
I
don't
would
go home.
I was just gonna say that maybe part of those vision boards serve as kind of just a kick in the butt to remind you.
Right,
Like, not that, "Oh, I see that, it's gonna happen." Again, I'll go back to
right,
the private plane
right,
thing. But maybe it's, "You know what? I like comfort, I want to
right.
work harder, and if I don't get that, that's okay, but I might get other things along the way." So it's just a reminder, you want to relax. So seeing pictures of meditation, it's a reminder, "I need to
It,
breathe. I need to stop just for
yeah,
a minute." So it's a nice reminder. It doesn't
yeah,
have
and
to have an end
yeah.
goal quite the same way,
And
maybe.
it's, I'm not one to cut out paper and do the vision boards, which is how they originally set out.
I
You
know,
go to
I love doing
magazines,
that. That's why we're so
and
different. I'm so
that's not my.
kinesthetic.
I'm
That's my
digital.
favorite.
So Canva, for those of you who are saying, "Oh, that sounds cool. Maybe I'll put a vision board on my computer." Go into Canva. It's a free platform, and just search vision boards. There's literally a category called vision boards, and you just pop pictures in to the places and change the words. It's the easiest thing, and I change it out. So it's a cool thing. It's kind of cool.
And you can look in the show notes. We'll put a link to Canva.
Yeah, we'll put a link into
Make
the
it easy for you, even easier. I
even
like cutting out
easier.
the pictures and buying all the magazines. It's harder to
So
find them though,
yeah, it is
you know?
because it's digital, right?
Yeah.
So the second thing that she says, that Mel says, is visualize the steps to reach your dream, right? Not just the end goal. So break it into tiny little pieces. Just literally visualize yourself doing each thing and what it looks like at the end. When I manifest and when I do things like that, I do everything in the present tense because
So
our
explain that.
brain, everything is in the present. So if you say, I am a successful self-employed person, the
Instead of
brain,
"I want to be,"
I
or "I
want to, it's
wish."
different than I
Okay.
want to be. So, again, I read gazillion self-help books and personal development books, and they all say the same thing, that our brain thinks in the present not what you hope to do, but you tell your brain right now that I'm successful, or I'm enjoying life, I have a great family, all of those things, you are more apt to reach them because your brain already has an expectation that you're there. It's a really cool thing when you think about it, how smart we are.
I do think there is a spiritual component to this that's not mentioned, that I deeply believe. If you believe and you put it out there and it's truly in your soul, and you, again, maybe it's a process that you have done the work already and you don't even know it. I
Right.
don't know. But there's something, and I'm gonna give an example that I've shared with you in the past. Recently, we bought land to build my
Right.
dream ranch.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks before that land came to us in an email, I was with my best friend here in Tucson, and she said, "Oh, you should, get a house in our neighborhood. They're redoing a home, and it's a beautiful neighborhood. Not what I want." And I literally said to her exactly what I wanted, and if I found it, great. If not, I was happy to
Right.
stay in my house forever. That's 2 weeks later. Exactly. I felt like somebody was listening and just put it into the computer and sent it to me. So I don't know how that happens, but it did.
Well, actually, I told you I have a book that I'm reading that we're going to talk about just in a few minutes that actually talks about that. That's all about your mind and how you can actually make things happen. So
Okay. Well, I can't wait to
we're
hear
going to
what
talk
that
about
is.
that later
I
on,
know. Okay.
right?
Yes.
And then we already said you have to do the work and all of that, when you're visualizing, and actually take the action. Of course, you can't just put it
Right.
out there and then say, well, I'm just going to go away, and then when I come back it's all going to be there. Wouldn't that be nice? Doesn't
Right.
happen.
And you can't, and don't get impatient. Don't give up.
Right.
So, like, back to that person that is thinking about starting their own or becoming
Right.
self-employed, might not happen right away. So, but again, if you really want it, don't give up, because sometimes it's that moment that you give up, that if you had just worked a
Right.
little bit harder, and
Right.
that's when you make those decisions.
And in terms of manifesting, most of us cannot actually picture ourselves 1 year out. It just doesn't seem like a long enough time, how fast time goes. So one of the other things that I've learned is to actually manifest where you intend to be 3 years from now, because you have time to do it.
Well, and that is one thing that Mel Robbins talks about. It
Mhm.
doesn't happen overnight. Are you willing to spend the next 3, 5, 10 years
Right,
making these dreams come
right,
true
right,
and working for them?
right.
My son always, I didn't know this until he was just out of grad school, that he always makes a 5-year plan for himself. And he's
Oh,
on target, and then his 5-year plan ended after grad school, and he started another one, and I love that, and
I love
otherwise, you
it.
just kind of all of a sudden, you wake up and it's 20 years later, and
So the
you've seen.
question I want to ask you, how did he know to do that?
I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
that's really cool
That's
for a
something that I
younger person to do that.
Yeah, I mean, his little nickname when he was in preschool was Diligent Dylan, so there's that. He was Maybe it's just how he's
Right.
wired, I don't know. But
Yeah.
my other son's the same way. I mean, maybe they see my husband, how he calculated and planned and built his companies,
Right.
so you don't just do that overnight.
And our
So you
kids
just
watch us. Our kids watch
Yeah,
us, and they listen, and
they do,
they see
yeah.
what's going on. So,
Like
in the new
celebrities, they say it's like that 10-year overnight success.
oh,
It's
right.
not. It's a long process, so
Right. And I think what we're really saying is towards, when we get to the new year, maybe we're going to refocus. Maybe we're going to commit to something that's new, or we're going to do a change. And can that all be good for us if we refocus and we commit to something new?
Mhm.
Can change is hard. Change is
It is
hard.
hard, and it's because it's scary, and the older you get, the scarier it seems to be.
Right.
The stakes are higher.
Yeah, right.
When
Exactly.
maybe you're less motivated, it's like, I'm good, I'll stay."
I'm like, I think I just want to sit on my couch.
I know, right? Give me the remote. A
So
good glass of wine.
this is totally a year for refocusing for me, and courage. That's my word for the year, is being
A good glass
courageous
of
to
wine.
face whatever is going to happen in this year. And we are refocusing, and I'm literally starting to plan, because I just made that commitment as to what
Good.
I'm going to do towards the end of the year, when my husband is healthy and we can actually do
Do.
something and actually plan to do something. So I'm planning a trip, literally, to Hawaii on a cruise ship, a 2-week cruise to Hawaii.
I love it. Oh
How
my
fun is
gosh.
that? We're cruisers. We love to cruise, and I know you love to cruise as well. You're doing well, we'll talk about that in a sec. But I that's what that is actually an intention of mine,
That
and
makes
we're
me so
planning it
happy to hear.
together. We're planning it so that it's something to look forward to as we get past this crazy right now. So
I
that's what
think
I'm doing.
we have to have something to look forward to, because even
Yeah,
in the darkest times, even like through the early stages of COVID, we had to seek
right,
out something to be hopeful for, to look
right,
up.
right. So what are you doing? I know you have a cruise coming up.
We are going on a Valentine's Day cruise. Back to Virgin. We loved our Virgin experience. So we're doing a 9-day cruise in the Caribbean with some good friends.
I am so jealous.
I know. I'm excited.
One of these
Uh,
days, I'm going to go with you.
I know, and then it'll be trouble.
But good trouble, right? But keeping with this conversation, travel's changed these days. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't even have to turn the TV on to know how many flights were canceled over the holidays and how many people were stranded in airports and luggage everywhere. And not even travel has changed.
Yeah.
Travel has changed. You
It
still
does.
travel. You travel. You don't have an issue with that.
We
I know.
still do, but I mean, we talk about it and we complain about it to each other, but
Right.
then where it's like, "Well, look what we're doing though." So,
Yeah.
it's not a fun process anymore right now. When you get there, it's great, but getting there
Used to be
is a
fun.
battle.
It used
I
to be
know, that
fun.
used to
That
be
was
part
part
of
of the
it.
trip, right? You go to the airport, you'd have a drink and then
Mhm.
you get up,
Now
you
you go
board,
and it's like,
you
"Please,
settle
please,
in and
let
you
me get on the
watch your
plane."
movie. It was now
Yeah.
the idea of getting on a plane personally for me is not going to happen. That's why we're going to cruise. We'll drive our car over to the dock where the ship goes. And for me,
Out of
so we're
LA.
going to
Yeah.
work around my fear right now. Who
Okay.
knows? By the time September rolls around, things are going to be great. It will be, and I'll
Yeah.
be happy to get on a plane. But we're working. We're working. But travel
Well, baby
really,
steps. Baby
yeah,
steps.
totally.
Yeah.
Because everything impacts it. Everything
Yeah.
impacts our travel. Totally.
Yeah. I I think that anything that we can do to enhance our lives,
Right.
um, whether we have lofty goals and New
Right.
Year's intentions, whatever you would like to call them,
Right.
do them. My word for the year is up, and it's to look up, to be up, to feel
Love it.
up, and I wanna just do that even with all the mishigas with
Right.
traveling. I wanna just,
Right.
you know what? Look what I get to do. I'm going on a cruise.
I
So
look
not
up.
focusing
Yeah.
on the crap and all the,
Right. And
getting
I look
stuck
up
at
to
the
you.
airport.
That's a great word. I look up to you. You're a good influence on me. You are constantly pushing me out of my comfort zone. And that's not a bad thing at all. That's a really, really good thing. We all need it. We all need a Mel in our lives. And you introduced me to Elaine.
Well, and talk about game changer,
Yeah.
and there's so much stuff that's just come out because, of course, fitness,
Right.
I mean, I don't even think January 1st hits, my inbox starts to be filled with diets, health
Gym,
club
fitness.
membership,
Yeah.
everything, because
Right.
that's the biggest
Right.
plus, but there's a lot of stuff coming out, reinforcing that less is more, that you do not need to spend hours in a gym, that in fact, you can minimize your
Yeah.
experience and get the same results. And we've already found this with Elaine because who can't find 10 to 20 minutes? They're 20-minute routines, but if you only have time for half of it, you can do 10.
Right.
Easily when you travel, you can do it, and you can do it with Core Strength 50. Just watch this video. We'll be right back.
Ready for a new approach to training in your 50s? Start 2023 with one of my holistic whole body and mind programs. 20-minute workouts designed to give you toned muscles, stand tall posture, abs you can feel, a perky butt, and put the zen back in your day. You can change your body at any age. CoreStrength50plus.com.
So that was cool. She's awesome. We love Elaine. And don't forget to check in the notes because she has a freebie giveaway for a perky butt and hip strengthening sequence.
Okay, I laugh every time you say
The link will be in the show copy, but I just have to tell you because I do walk every single day, and I'm going to just stand up because I am literally in my exercise outfit. I don't think I can stand all the way up in my little sports bra. And I want to show you something. I'm showing you the fact that I have, my stretch marks and I have all that stuff, and
you wear them
I
proudly.
wear it anyways.
And you're bragging because you live in the desert and the people watching this that are under snow are jealous.
And I'm bragging. But, I'm starting to get my abs back, and I'm walking,
know.
and I'm proud of this. I'm not proud of the
In
stretch
20
marks.
minutes a day.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
That's the thing.
I walk my dog.
I know. But with Elaine,
Oh,
it's like,
course,
I
50.
don't
Yeah.
have to spend hours in the gym.
Right.
Not that I did anyway, but now it's justified.
Well, I think it's all how you exercise. And if you do the right things in the right order, with the right equipment, not even having the equipment, you're going to get the same effect. Even Mel Robbins has a show all about that. She was, and you have,
she does.
Yeah, she has a total show about that, about the fact that getting up to exercise is just not her idea of fun. But a guest on was telling her, you can literally do that same exercise, but only do it for 1 minute and do this instead. And it will have the same exact effect.
Yes,
and she was like, I'm in.
Yeah. But it's true. And it comes back, all of this circles back to number one, focus and being present. Because if you go and spend 2 hours at the gym, but you're here, you're there, you're talking, you really haven't accomplished what you went there to do. When I go in my room and I work out, I do this workout, I'm deadly laser focused, get it done easily.
You're done.
And I'm done. And the results are tremendous.
Yeah.
It's
a really great program.
Enough.
We encourage you to go, check it out. You can go check out our website as well at www.corestrength50plus.com. And
the link
also
will be in the show notes.
Go get your freebie.
Perky butt
thing. Perky butt thing.
I'm like a stupid little kid that laughs. I was like, a bad joke. And we're on.
It's time for our barrel list. And we're going to start with books today. And earlier I mentioned the fact that the whole idea of manifesting, and that you can literally create the end in your head and be there. I am all over this guy. It's called the Silver Mind Control Method, but Jose Silva, look him up. This guy is a mega guru. Well, he's no longer alive, but basically when he was a young parent, and he was watching his kids struggle in school, and they would go and try to study, and he would test them, and they couldn't do it. And he literally started to train them and doing all these questions. And all of a sudden, his daughter starts answering questions that he hasn't even asked her yet. He hadn't even formed the question to come out. And he literally taught her ESP. And what the experts were saying back then, oh, no, you can't teach ESP. Right. And he said, watch me. And he literally went into a school, a classroom of all her friends in that classroom. And he taught them all the same thing. All of them. Their grades went up. Their scores went up. They literally were able to. And so when I heard that story, not that I'm, going to go back to school and do any of that stuff, but he talks about a whole different way of meditation. And he talks about we are all normally in beta, right? Beta, it's like our everyday. Then you go into alpha. Alpha is the level when you are literally focused, really, really focused on what you're doing. And they teach you how to go in alpha like that. And I'm going to teach you right now.
Okay.
When you can either close your eyes or look straight ahead, but then with your eyes, go up 45% from where you are and just hold it. I do it with my eyes closed. And I'm going to tell you that if you do that without being distracted by what we're doing here, you are going to feel yourself literally go somewhere else.
That's your third eye. You're focusing in on your third eye.
There you go. It's so cool. Then he teaches you how to go into delta and into theta, and it's a whole program. I'm literally got Post-it notes in my book. That's how cool this is. And I was really excited when you were talking about intentions and what Mel Robbins said, because this is not, woo-woo. I thought it was woo-woo.
Yeah,
it's not woo-woo. It is a science. This is all backed by science. I'm getting very excited about this. So I encourage you, I know you have an interview. You did a really cool interview.
I did, and I'm excited. I'm still reading for entertainment, The Mutual Friend by Carter Bays.
Hmm.
One of our longtime favorite shows was How I Met Your Mother, and he's a great, great writer. It's fabulous, and I'd say it's light reading, but there's so much reality that you're hit with that it's like, "Oh my god, I do that. Oh, this is our life." That it's a little overwhelming, so I would highly recommend it. Great read. And yes, so I interviewed the most fascinating man, Stuart Lichtman. He's a world-renowned author, a researcher, a coach, entrepreneur, you name it. The guy has degrees from MIT. He's owned companies all over the world. He's 84 years old, and he's out to literally save the world. And I think he's gonna do it all by himself. He his newest book called, oh, Make Your Life a 10
Hmm.
touches on how you can consciously manage the unconscious mind. And he goes into great detail in the interview. I'm not gonna spoil it any, but here's a little clip now just to give you a taste. What does that mean? Your unconscious mind does all the doing.
You may not remember when you learned to read, but if you've watched a kid learning to read,
Yes.
it's like a 4 or 5 year process. First, they have to learn that certain sounds are associated with objects, actions, people, and so forth. Now, you pick up a book, you look, you know what it says. That's all done unconsciously. Same thing driving a car, same thing walking. The unconscious runs things. The conscious mind, which can handle most people maximum of 3 things at once, just doesn't fit the world. Look at the corner of the room that you're in, and you can see length, width, and height at the same time.
That's
right?
tricky.
That's only 4 dimensions.
How many dimensions are we talking about?
Anything more than 3 dimensions is called by a fancy name hyperspace. So in that hyperspace, people with similar personalities, unconscious personalities, cluster together. And humans are good at that. I came up with a human version of the same thing. And you just think of people who are similar to each other
Mm-hmm.
and so forth.
Is
So,
that why you're drawn to, like, just naturally you're drawn to certain personalities or away from certain personalities?
well, there are 2 factors. One is a recognition, which is what I just said. The second is karma.
That was amazing. This guy is fascinating. 84 years old. Goes back to the question, can we do anything at any age? Yes.
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 Yes. You
And
can.
you guys can listen to the whole interview. We put the link into the show notes below. Check it out. Let us know what you think. I love this show, Mel. We are literally connecting the dots with
Yeah.
between Mel Robbins, manifestation, and Jose Silva's, the Silva mind control, and now we have the author who's talking about the same, basically manifest. I just love this.
Changing your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I love that consciously managing the unconscious mind. Blew my mind.
Yeah, it's fascinating, totally fascinating.
Yeah.
So we want to let everyone know that we've got some cool things going on. So check in the show notes down below. We've got some links in there. Some of our very, very favorite products we put into our shop. We'll put the link in there. Make sure you click on it. We also, we tell you every time we get together, Mel is so awesome. She pulls all these songs together. They become my favorite songs after they were your favorite songs, Mel. And we want to share them with all of you. So we put the playlist in the show notes as well.
Yep.
Wow.
It's been a great start to the new year. I'm hopeful and looking up for 2023. How about you?
Yes, I am actually. I'm excited about this year. I am very, very
I'm excited for you. I love Hawaii, and I'm just
Maybe
happy
you'll
that you're
come with
gonna
us. Maybe you'll
dip
have
your
to
toes in the water and get out there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I know, and I'm grateful to all of you. We both look forward to hearing from you, and we love what you send us in your DMs. Keep them coming. We'll have a big question for you for next month, so keep your eye on our social media platforms and weigh in so we can answer them here. In the
Yeah.
meantime, have a wonderful month. Keep looking up.
And
And
we'll see you next time.
ciao. This is your time. Make the most of it.